Country versus Metal podcast with JD Graham. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? I
It's
was just watching you. I was watching you shred this morning, to some old blues backing tracks on your
uh,
TikTok.
oh yeah. I've been getting more into the blues and whatnot. I just man, I always it's when I watch other guitar players, I get so jealous anymore because I feel like I've ran out of phrases. You know?
Man, I think that's every guitar player that like whenever they hear somebody that's like so well versed and outside of the box, and they're like, okay, well, I guess I've got to put myself in like one little box here, this being a country versus metal podcast, I grew up in like the metal world, and now I'm kind of in the Americana songwriter world, so I still go back and play all that old metal stuff. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, you have a Dean ML behind you. That's
Yeah, there is. Yeah, there's a couple. There's a what is that other one back there? I have a if you can see that. This is an old Schecter
nice.
Hellraiser, and that thing plays better. I got a bunch of cool guitars in here. That thing's a shredder, man. It feels so easy to play.
Yeah.
And I love them active pickups too. I never even really take an electric guitar out with me touring, but when I'm in my bedroom, it's all it's all inclusive.
Yeah. Yeah. I also saw on Google that you were in death metal bands.
Yeah, yeah, man, I grew up, I think I started playing guitar at about 13. And like the only reason I started playing guitar was probably from the Testament New Order album, and maybe the Cannibal Corpse Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated albums. Like those are the reasons I picked up a guitar and started like playing. But yes, I played in a band called Skull Plate for a little bit in Oklahoma City. I played bass for those guys. We got to play with some fun people, Vader, Cataclysm. Um, Cannibal Corpse. Some of the stuff I listened to back then was like Male of Creation, Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, Deicide. All the good thrashy stuff.
Yeah.
I like my metal thrashy and no clean vocals.
Yeah. It, that's what I used to listen to. And
Yeah.
then and it just got to a point I think I was just like getting just tired of getting yelled at. That's,
I think it's the coming of age. The metal world is it's such a young man's game, and it's so competitive. And so all the metal guys when I was growing up, they wanted to play the fastest, most intricate riffs, on the planet. And I think I was kind of blinded for a while by like chasing that intricate guitar playing style rather than just jamming. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But man, I love those days, and I sometimes wish I could go back to some of my favorite death metal albums and pull the vocals out of them and just listen to the guitar parts.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because there's a lot of cool riffage behind there. And I
Yeah.
like older now, you just kind of like, man, like if the vocals weren't there, this would be like a really cool song to drive to.
Well, I think it was like 20 years ago I finally said, you know what, I'm done playing death metal guitar, and I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Just I think again, I think it's the coming of age. If you look historically at most of the people that are in the broad term Americana genre, most of them have some type of metal influence or backing. So I think most of us out here that are my age, I'm 50. I think most of us are just a bunch of damn metalheads that tried to figure out a different way to express themselves. That I was a little bit more comprehensive for the aging man, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because I was wondering because a lot of like you're really good at finger picking, and I did not expect you to be a fan of electrics because normally when people are that good on acoustic, they tend to like sometimes play electric, but they don't enjoy it. It's weird. It's always because I'm a terrible acoustic guitar player. I'm like campfire good,
Okay,
but
as good as you need to be.
yeah, yeah, and
All right.
I I really thought like I bought a banjo and I really thought like that would help with like finger picking and everything, and I it, maybe it's the rhythmic side of it. Like I don't have like a good connection with the right hand, but I love watching people play like how you play.
I like finger picking in like in the spectrum of what I do and the stuff that I listen to. Like if you like playing a lot of solo acoustic shows, I feel like finger picking, it adds a little bit more space and a little bit more melodic content content for you to sing over rather than somebody just beating the hell out of an acoustic guitar, strumming that thing like it owes them money, you know. It kind of fills up all the space. So I like all those little finger pick notes to be, you know, intentional to provide kind of that ambient, frolicking space to where I can throw my vocal melody and lyrics on top of it and create something special. Because I mean, I only use a guitar pick when I'm playing guitar solo stuff, you know. And hell, it took me forever just to learn how to hybrid pick, to hold a pick in one hand and then you know, use your other two, whatever they're calling it, hybrid pick. And I learned that when I was locked up. I'd never done that stuff in my life, and I got in some old hell, it was Johnny somebody had like a chicken picking video, and I really started focusing on Johnny Highland.
Jalen Highland, dude. Yeah,
John Highland.
I love
Johnny
that dude.
Highland.
That
So I
g-
had his I was teaching guitar in prison, and I that was the first video I had sent in because we had a classroom where we would do seminars on the weekend. We would have like the Johnny Highland stuff, some Brad Paisley videos, and then we'd have like a bunch of Steve Kaufman bluegrass tunes, and like we were really learning how to do different things. You know, I played before I went in, but I'd never been like a full-time teacher, and so I had to learn a lot so that I didn't look stupid when I was teaching folks, you know.
yeah, dude. I've mentioned him the last couple of podcasts, and people are like,
Oh,
"Oh, I'll
really?
check him out." And the first time I might have seen that video, but it, like being blind and everything, it's just there's amazing talent, and there's no excuse to sit down and really grind out and learn it, because you're the only limitation. But man, he's a monster on guitar. He's
It,
so good.
He's great. You know, what was frustrating me is I can play some songs note for note off of Yngwie Malmsteen albums, but when I try to jump into the chicken picking world, I'm like, oh, this is different. I got to know exactly what chords I'm playing over to make this work. And
Yeah,
it still is a journey. It still is a journey. I'm certainly not going to go play a lead guitar for some chicken picking band, but in my room, I'm going to hack this stuff out in between playing to old Cannibal Corpse songs and stuff. You know.
yeah. It's so true when you do get to a certain level of just like the straight shredding. It's you'll hit a limit, and you might get a little bit faster, but then you find out like chicken pick and stuff like that is way harder.
It is.
So
Well,
much
but
harder.
I know chicken picking guys that can't do the shreddy stuff because they've just learned. I think that on both sides of the spectrum, those things are difficult. But there's a few people out there like Guthrie Govan or however the hell
Oh
else you pronounce his name.
yeah.
That dude can chicken pick and shred. Like he's got it down. You know.
When he makes his guitar sound like a violin, I don't know if you've
You
seen
know, I
that.
do a lot of that on my live shows. People always ask me, "What are you using for a violin pedal?" Because I'll hit a on my acoustic pedal board. I'll just throw a little extra reverb, a boost pedal for some headroom, and I'll use my volume pedal on my board, and I'll just use that really heavy vibrato and kind of swell into it because the violin doesn't have that attack. So I try to make it sound like somewhere like a violin and a pedal steel had a baby, you know. And
Nice.
I love doing that. And people will ask me all the time after shows, "Hey, what's that violin pedal?" I'm like, "That's just fingers, reverb, and a boost pedal and volume, you know." But it's
Yeah,
easier to do with your volume pedal on your footboard rather than, you know, having to worry about all that with your volume knob. But I
yeah.
love weird sounds you can make with guitars. You
Oh,
know, it's crazy. You know, the first time I saw you a couple years ago when I just got a TikTok. My daughter told me, "Dad, you got to get a TikTok." She had all these requests when I got out of prison, like, "Dad, you got to, like, the world's changed a little bit. You can't just have like MySpace and Facebook anymore. You got to get Tik." I've never got Snapchat, but I remember seeing you on TikTok when you were doing a bunch of the blind reactions. Yeah, and I
yeah,
think you even did one on my Pound of Rust song, and somehow it screwed up on the first time. So then you did like a second one that wasn't truly blind because you had just heard it, but TikTok didn't record it.
yeah. I remember that. I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember somebody in the industry was like, "Dude, you have to check this song out." Uh-oh, he clicked off. More technical difficulties. We're back.
Are we
Yep,
there? All right,
yep.
cool.
We're back on.
All right, we were talking about death metal and we were talking about guitar playing. And then you said the last thing you said is somebody in the industry sent a song over to you and told you to listen to it when you did the blind reaction to my Pound of Rust tune.
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember who it was, but Man, like that's a hell of a song.
Well,
That
thanks, man.
that just the lyrics is the guitar playing's great on it as well, but man, those lyrics like it I mean, it doesn't get more confessional and just, like a business card of this is who I am, and it's deep.
Oh, it's a deep one. It's the last out of about I did a little over 5 years in Arizona, and that's the last song I wrote before I headed home. That kind of just summed up, everything. And I used to start a lot of shows off with that song because it does. If you didn't know me and you're listening to that song on the first time, you're gonna know who I am, or you might not like it. You might turn around and walk. That song lets you know exactly what I'm about.
Yeah.
But I
Like
don't know how to
when
write anything else but just truthful stuff. I mean, the autobiographical songs, they come very easy to me. But I've written a lot of songs that have character creations, but usually, man, I'm just writing about crap that's happened to me.
yeah. Yeah, it's do you have like people walking out on you? Because I know a lot of people.
No, no, no. I say that jokingly. I say that at
Yeah.
shows. It's my half-ass attempt at wit and humor because there's none of that in any of my songs. So the only time I can make people laugh typically is the banter in between them.
it's, I was gonna say like I'm trying to think what your most like upbeat song would be. It's maybe the one. God, I'm terrible with the clouds.
Quiet on My Cloud.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I have that, and then I have another one called Percocets and Pawn Shops, which is like my number one streamed song, and which is another kind of upbeat one. Now, I write in the full rock and roll genre too. I just had never really released anything. I used to be in like a little rock and roll band out here in Arizona for a few years, about in like 2012, called Sour Diesel Trainwreck. We recorded a studio album, and then yeah, we were a bunch of stoners. Studio album, and then we did a live album, and I've got a whole bunch of that stuff, and I'm actually going to record an album in next month in September, another album, and I'm going to at least record one of these rock and roll songs just because I've got a ton of them and they're just sitting here.
nice. Yeah, because I mean, just traditionally, your songs. I'm gonna say the phrase like unpolished. You you know what I mean? Just
Yeah, I mean,
guitar,
there's
your
not, I
voice.
don't, yeah, I don't want to, I don't have, if you listen to my last two albums, I had Nielsen Hubbard and Ryan Colwell help produce those, and they're very good at not losing the songwriter in the middle of everything. That's kind of the
Yeah,
focus, and everything else is kind of there supportive. So I don't know that you'll ever hear one of my songs or one of my albums that has like full band drums, everything in every single song from the time you start. I like unless I was going to make just a purely rock and roll album, I think that would be cool. But yeah, I like the mid-tempo, finger-picked ambient sound that you can just kind of get locked into people's mind with the story. Everybody has their thing, and I'm still trying to just write as many songs as I can that feel good to me. I don't write. I'm not one of them guys that wakes up and writes 5 songs a day. Hell, I might not write 5 songs in a month. I write them whenever I feel like writing them. Because I'm not really writing to pitch my stuff to other people, so I don't have that. I don't want that burden. Um, for me, it would be a burden. For some, they love it. And there's all kinds of different writers out there.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
I mean,
I've seen a bunch of pictures of you with a hat and it says tier miner. How did
oh,
how did that come about?
just a lot of people. I forget how I think I said one time at a show, if I had a band, it would be JD Graham and the Tear Miners, jokingly, and that thing kind of stuck. And then so I just ran with it, because I let people know at my shows, I am coming for your feelings. I want to make you feel something, 100%. And I think I get introduced by that name, but this is JD Graham, the tier miner himself, which is great. It's great because it kind of encapsulates, what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to tell a story, but I'm also trying to dig deep into folks' emotions. And I had one lady tell me one time, she said, "I've never at end of a show." I never met me before, never heard me. She said, I've never met you in my life, but after that show, I feel like I've known you my entire life. type thing, and so I really dig for that deep personal connection with the songs. I want to create, those emotional experiences in folks, and a lot of that has to do with crying, and that's why I play these quiet rooms. I only really play listening rooms and things where folks are there to listen to songs, because if, I think songwriters, for me, like I perform different in a completely quiet room. Like if there's chaos going around, I mean, I just am not interested in playing Joe's Bar and Grill with 50 people talking about their 69 Camaro, So about a year and a
Yeah.
half ago, I said, I'm not doing any more of those unless it's on my terms. And the quiet rooms are great because the connection is palpable. You can feel it in the room, and the songs I write are kind of geared to be played in quiet places. But I get to play some cool festivals sometimes, where things get quiet at the festival, which is it's always surprising to me.
Yeah. Yeah. My first experience at a listening room, it was pretty intense. Just like even people like ordering drinks and just like I'll take one of
R-
this, and I was like, man, this is
Right.
really cool because I'm like the magnet for the scream talkers, and I'm like, why did you come here? Like, I want to hear the music, and just it's so weird when people go to concerts and the concert's background music for them. I never really like what's the point? Uh,
Well, I think different cultures consume music a little bit differently. Like in the United States, in the United States, like it's implied if you go see Elton John in a theater with a piano, people aren't going to be talking, And so it's really cool to have these rooms or these venues that are listening rooms. So it's implied when you walk in there, and you know that people that are buying a ticket to that, they're going to be invested in the evening and the experience. When I got to the great honor and privilege of playing over in Europe, since last October, I toured 3 times over there. Those people consume music completely different. They're extremely attentive. I mean, you can hear the gasps in the room, like after certain lines hit people a different way, and it's just like it's a little bit different than the American listening room model, which is fantastic. But over there, I think. Um, Culturally and just art wise, those folks are connected to the performing arts over there,
yeah,
which is cool. I love it over there. I want to play over there half the year and half the year in the United States. So
yeah.
it's
I
beautiful. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say that just at the same point. They say, they're there for the experience, and they care about the songs, they care about the artists, and you know,
Oh, it's
make
it's 100% gorgeous. I'm heading back over there next year for a couple of months. I'm trying to do 70 shows in 90 days is kind of the goal for next year over there. Because it's so beautiful. You get to see everything. I saw some of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen in my entire life over there.
yeah,
Not just scenery, but like just ideology and the culture over there. Everybody's not really worried about nothing. They're just chilling, they're there.
yeah,
There's not all the animosity, or at least I didn't see it. I'm sure if you live over there, every society and culture has its own hiccups and things that it struggles with. But I didn't see any while I was over there
yeah. That
personally.
reminds with like heavy metal guys. I can't remember if it was Brazil where people sing the guitar riffs
Oh,
while the
wow,
band
okay.
while the band's playing. I remember seeing it, and someone explaining. He was like, "You've never experienced a show like I'm pretty sure it was Brazil, and it was really cool. I think it was Symphony of the Destruction. The whole crowd going la 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 la. It was really interesting to hear like a choir of people mimicking the guitars.
Hey, they take their metal seriously. I was in Norway for about a week, and this one venue I played, I can't remember the name of it, but it was a metal club, and there was like 3 rooms in there. So they had like a listening room they would bring like folky stuff into, and right next door there was a death metal band playing. I walk in the door, and there's a band sound checking, and then they're done, and they have Sepultura, a song from the Arise album, just blasting through the PA. I'm like, I am in my place. They take their metal so seriously over there, and I love it. I think that's
Yeah,
where Demi Borgir is from, up in that area as well. There's a lot of metal history over there in Scandinavia, man. It's Viking country, man. They take their metal seriously, as they
y-
should. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. They do. It's weird how like certain areas get known for music, and that's like the mecca of that whole sound of all those
Yeah.
guys. It's
Now, where are you currently at? Where are you
I'm
out
in
of now?
I'm in Delaware.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know you were that. I ain't never even been that far north, I don't think.
Yeah, it's funny when sometimes people think I'm from, like from Texas, and I'm like, if I was from Texas, I wouldn't be the channel wouldn't exist because down there it's like, man, you just walk well, you just walk around. And I'm always interested in like band shirts, and if some of these band shirts I have now, I would have been like, oh, I'm gonna check these bands out. But yeah, we are starting to get a lot more of the Texas Oklahoma guys, and the singer songwriter in Americana, and it's nice to see that people are excited for songwriters again, and because like Bob Dylan and all, there hasn't I don't know, like, it's just really cool to see. I think Zach Bryan really brought out being a singer songwriter
No,
was
I
kind
would
of
agree.
cool.
Like, regardless of what, like your views on his body of work, I can tell you because I've got three daughters that are in their mid to late 20s, and even their dad being a songwriter, it wasn't until Zach Bryan started writing songs that he's like I've watched it. I've watched his what he's doing, bringing the entire younger generation to get them interested in like in pure like songwriting. Like regardless of whether you like the guy's body of work or not, like I can say from a completely unbiased standpoint that from having daughters that even having daughters of a father that's a songwriter, that Zach Bryan pulled them in to the songwriters, and they'll send me stuff these days and like, you ever heard of this person? Like, yeah, I've been listening to him for years. Well, it came up on my Spotify when I was listening to a Zach Bryan song, so
Yeah,
so yeah, it's great for people to get back into new songwriting. You know what I mean? The songwriting with that relies more on truth than it does what the trend is. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Guys are just writing their personal feelings down on a piece of paper and throwing some chords around and hoping from the best. I don't think that there's like any secret sauce or secret equation. I think some of that stuff is just the truth and put out just right. It really touches people, and it's cool to see the young generation because uh 15 years ago the younger generation was listening to popular radio, whatever that means, whatever your genre of choice is. The
yeah,
underground independent scene just had really not reared its head as it has now with the invention of the internet and podcasts and everything. But if I had it my way, I'd go back to where if the internet got turned off today, I'd be happy. The world would be a small place again.
yeah,
Or it'd be a big place. The world's become very small because we have so much information at our fingertips. So it's cool whenever I see this younger generation gravitate towards songwriters, and not people that are just writing for the dollar bill either.
yeah, definitely. Because like you said, for a while, if you want it, I mean, granted, I they're out there, but they're just not like mainstream or just like word of mouth, like American Aquarium and
Yeah.
guys like that, and they're more on the rock side, but it's like the first time I was talking to BJ, I said, "Man, I put your record on, and I felt like we like had a conversation, and like new parts of him. It's like your song, As for Me, like that's a pretty in depth song of like you just
Yeah, that was just I wrote that. That song is just a true story about that's got all my entire family in it. Grandmas, aunts,
yeah
uncles, all of it. And it kind of gives you just a little overview of where I was raised. And I think most of the songs I write are just little glimpses into specific times of my life. You can't fit an entire lifetime in one song. I've done so many things that I've never written about, and who knows if I ever will. I don't live that old life that I used to live, but I still have a lot. Those experiences still rear their head all the time, and I was like, well, I might as well write about it. It's crossing my mind for a reason.
yeah yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
it's
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say like it's definitely I've come to really really enjoy that style and hear those stories and stuff like that because it reminds me of like the old the beat guys like William S. Burroughs and Jack Kerouac and all those guys and Bukowski of just like raw. I used to love like just like the poems that were just like a page or maybe a page and a half
Mhm.
and just a short little blip of what they were going through and just this the story and it's kind of like that but added guitar which
It's
I like.
great. You know, you mentioned American Aquarium. I know that I had three of their CDs sent in when I was locked up. Like in the first year, I think the first CD I ever had sent in was a John Fulbright CD from the ground up. This is before we had tablets in prison, when all we had was CD players, and nobody in Arizona prisons had any type of music I listened to. It was all, metal or Spanish music or a lot of hip hop. And so I met John Fulbright at Mile Zero, and I told the first time I ever met him, I said, "Hey man, I just want to let you know did some time in Arizona. The first CD I had sent in was your From the Ground Up CD, and there are people that are never going to get out of prison that are playing your songs in prison, probably on this day." And he was shocked by it. So you talk about the independent writer and the writer that's kind of just telling these stories. Well, all these guys that were locked up, they'd never heard any music like that. So like that became a whole thing on a couple yards that I was on, just because people had never heard, that type of music that was made just from a dude's heart and his guitar telling a little story about his life. So it's just music's powerful, songs are powerful, and I like to listen to the people that are writing the powerful songs about periods in their life. Including American Aquarium. I'm a huge John Moreland fan. That song Cherokee of John Moreland's is probably one of my favorite songs ever written. Um, it must be Oklahoma and Johns, right? We got Fulbright and Moreland.
Yeah. Who who's your do you have a favorite songwriter?
I don't have a singular favorite. I have a group of them. I just missed it. I just listed a couple. I also really love. I don't know if you know Anna Tivolis or Jeffrey Martin or Ryan Colwell. Those are some
No.
writers that I really really like. But as far as like somebody that everybody would know, I don't have really a favorite, man, because I listen to a lot of different stuff. Everybody has their own little thing.
Yeah.
Depends on what I want to listen to. I still listen to some rock and roll stuff. I'm a huge Pony Bradshaw fan.
Yeah, his I think the first song of his about Van Gogh.
Yeah.
The first time I heard it, I was like, it's different in a really good way. And that reminds me, I think he's coming around here. I'm gonna have to. I missed
I've
him
never
last time.
seen him. I hope to get to see him. I'm making an album next month with the guy that did his last few albums, Jason Weinheimer, out in Little Rock. Um, so I think he's done a lot of stuff. He did some Bradshaw albums. He did a Fulbright album, a Moreland album, and I think a bunch of Tulsa guys are gonna play on it, and I'm looking forward to it. It's always cool to walk into a room with people you've never met before with songs that they've barely heard, and so let's make an album,
Yeah,
rather than spending a ton of time like working everything out. I love it, like just kind of coming together, on the spot, that's the way I like to make albums. I just sit there with my guitar on a bar stool and sing and play my songs at the same time with a pair of headphones on and some other guys that I've potentially never met. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
It's definitely fun. The first time I was amazed at just how fast a song can come together of when you just have an idea. It's
Mhm.
really cool, especially if you have a really good engineer at the board and knows what he's doing and just and that was also one of the first times I dealt with session players where you can hum anything and they'll play it. I thought that was pretty cool how like you could just like write a song just be like like old kind of like blues style and
Mhm.
just how like one sentence can become a song of just from somebody's memory or just a story and just it's just
It's
interesting.
incredible. It's incredible. And like you mentioned, the studio cats. I never really went in with guys I never met until I made that Pound of Rust album. And I had never seen people work with such efficiency. It's like, like if you're like in a band in high school and you guys been playing around, you want to go make an album, you spend a lot of time on pre-production and all this other stuff and coming up with ideas. And I found for me, the key is find people that already have those ideas. The idea walks in the room. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to
Yeah.
figure it out because you can, I love telling a guy, hey, what do you want me to do on this? I want you to do whatever you would do on it. That's why I want you to play on this because I trust your judgment. And these guys, and they can give you like stylistically, they can take a song in multiple different directions, like, and not even think about it. Oh, you want to try this? Let's try that. And it's crazy, and there's no ego, and it 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 was amazing to watch, and it's great not to have to go in the studio and fight with a bunch of people you've been on the road with that you may hate to go make an album. I don't travel with a band. You may be a pedal steel player, a fiddle player next to me, and I'm gonna put together a little something this year and maybe do some a few full band shows. It's because I love playing with bands as well. Done it
Yeah.
most of my life, but I do love this. I like just having my guitar and nothing else to luck around my guitar and my pedal board and not, what I mean? A whole
Yeah.
trailer full of crap you got to unload every night. So I think about both of those things. Like the bands have their advantages, and I think the solo guys have their advantages. It's all about what you want. Find out what you want and chase it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how
And
I feel
it's
about it.
yeah, and it's always nice. I mean, you can do both. And when you're itching for, you
Hmm.
know, a, a bass drum behind you and getting that rock out, you just schedule
Feels
full
good.
band. Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, it feels good. There are some situations like that, but I've enjoyed traveling around with this acoustic guitar. I bring a baritone with me from time to time too, electric old Dan Electro baritone I bought for $100. That sounds killer. I bring it out to some shows. How do you make my songs darker and sadder? You play them on a baritone guitar,
Yeah.
as if they needed any help, right?
Yeah.
And
So
people all the time ask me, when are you going to write some happy stuff? And I'm like, well, I think there's a happy message. In a lot of my songs, just the content to get there. I gotta drag people through a bunch of tragedy to let them smell the other side of it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
With no agenda. I mean, it's just kind of the truth.
Yeah. It's a cool. It's also like a really a, a redemption in the lyrics, because like especially if someone's watching you live and you're like, wow, you know, it's amazing you're here when you know you hear some of the songs and stuff like that, and burning the candle on both ends and whatnot.
And music is so powerful. So what are you listening to these days?
Man, I normally like I have a country versus metal playlist. I pretty much listen to the songs I've listened to before, but it's with like I used to listen to Meshuggah like every day, and it's I haven't e- they've released an album. I haven't even heard any songs off of it. It's weird, but now uh pr- if I'm going to a show, I'll listen to that. Like I just went and saw Cody Jinks,
Okay.
Tanner Usry, Shane Smith and the Saints. I listen to them a lot. Shane Smith and the Saints and Cody stuff. He did some stuff with Mark Morton from Lamb of God. That's pretty cool. And yeah, it's pretty much like
Killer. Yeah, I
the
love Shane Smith as well. I love Tanner and Cody both. Met Tanner a few times at various festivals. I think the first Shane Smith song I ever heard, I was locked up, and of course, guess what turned me on to him? Yellowstone, because we did have TVs there. We got to watch Yellowstone. So that song "Little Bird" was my first
mm,
favorite Shane Smith song.
yeah, I love those guys. So much sound the for the amount of people they had. I just remember like always say the first. I was like, where's everybody else? I thought for sure they'd have somebody playing synths or something or just
Hmm.
the sound, and come to find out, it's a lot of like modulation with the guitar and the harmonies, and
They're good.
it's
They just have
because
all those pieces.
yeah, and I love the tone of Shane's voice. Like just the lower register.
That's just unique. Whenever I mean, you hear him sing anything, you know who it is in the first sentence. You know, that's I think that's what
Yeah.
what's great about very unique singers, guys. You can hear sing three syllables and like hit stop and you know who it is. You know, that's but yeah, that's I've seen sing at Mile Zero. What a big sound it was. You know, I went out front and listened to that in all of its glory, and it was fantastic. You know who else I saw last year? For me, this is a big statement, but in the last 15 years, I've never seen a show to me that hit me as hard full band as Stephen Wilson Jr. said at Mile Zero last year. What a
Okay. I need
what
to.
a what a like I've listened to his music, but I'd never like seen him live, and I didn't listen to a lot of the stuff. And after that live show, it was like a generational thing that I saw. Like I haven't seen anything. The only thing that, in my opinion, that came as uniquely close to that would be like the Strays. When I saw their first show, there's um, just both fantastic and just like unexpectedly like just unexpectedly pleasant. There's like so much. History you can just feel there's a feeling it's nostalgia like wrapped up in something that you haven't seen in a while and those two shows for me were full band shows are some of the best that I've ever seen in my entire life across all genres, you know. And I seen Pantera and broke my collarbone at a Pantera show, so when I'm putting him up there with those shows, you know, it's good. You've not seen him live?
Who?
Steven
I
Wilson Jr.?
no, I haven't seen
Yeah,
him, and I've only listened to a couple of his songs. I
yeah,
love this one song. I think in 1994
yeah,
of like it's
yeah.
just
He has
yeah,
another one called I'm a Song that's fantastic.
yeah,
This kind of talking from that perspective of a song, but the show was just really cool, man. And it's just crazy to see. There's so much music out there that we may or may not have ever heard of, but to kind of circle back and bring it together, we talk about how powerful music is and that connection. Like when you can connect with 5,000 people at a festival from a stage with a full rock band, and these people, you're making them feel something. It's just cool. I still feel the same feeling I did that night when I saw those acts, and it was like, I can't describe it, but I can just say it was something special. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Are you going to Mile Zero this year?
I am. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be down there. I'm going there
Oh,
this
cool.
year. I
Oh,
went
cool.
down there a couple years ago. That's where I saw the Red Clay Strays play there.
Yeah. What a great festival.
Yeah, I
It's
love
in
it. It
paradise.
yeah, it helps if you have a veteran because if you don't
Hmm.
know the the hustle and bustle of it,
Hmm.
which I was kind of like really caught off guard because it's a shame where you have to pick. You have to pick between some of your favorite artists, and then it's like, well, how am I going to get here? How am I going to get there? It helped that I had people help me, but I really think the second time around I'm gonna know how to really get around and see a lot more music. But yeah, like you can't beat it. It's fantastic, and it's just like the lineup is crazy awesome, and like a lot of times you can go to Duval after the amp and hang out with them all.
Yeah. It's crazy. When I played there last year, I played right before Morgan Wade at the Smoking Tuna, and like you get access to people at that level, like face to face, where you won't get that like at another festival. I mean, look at what she's playing big ass arenas and stuff, so it's very cool. Like even because I think some of my friends think I'm just a musician. They forget that I'm a music fan first and foremost. I would never
Yeah,
play music and write songs, and some of my friends don't get that. I figured you just played music and like you didn't even listen to music. Like, what are you talking about? So like even for me, even though I get to go play Mile Zero, like it's a big deal to me to figure out who I want to go see because there are so many choices and you can't see them all, so it's the long game. You just go for a couple years and hope for the best that you can see as many people as you want because it is such a broad festival from like the legendary songwriters to the up and coming powerhouse bands. You can see it all and you can see it on many different levels as far as venue size and intimacy.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I I was overwhelmed of just how much music and just the whole town becomes a music town, and everybody is so friendly once they know you're from the festival. You can stop anybody on the street, ask, if you don't know where you're going, who's where, what. It's a really cool following too, of the people that go there, and they always in the Mile Zero groups they all take pictures together, and it's it's a very very cool, very like a family type vibe down there as well.
I mean, it is, and I think I go all over the place, all over the United States. I see Mile Zero hats and T-shirts all the time. Somebody will walk up, "Hey, I saw you at Mile Zero last year. Saw you were playing in the neighborhood." So those people are they are some very loyal fans that go to that thing that will step in front of a bullet for you. And I love them. I've gained a lot of friends and fans from that festival that I never would have got if had they not just happened upon one of the shows that I was playing there when they didn't even know who I was, you know. So it's cool. And they treat people on the artist side like so good down there, you know. There's no ego, there's no animosity. It's a very efficient machine. It was engineered for musicians because it's built by musicians, you know. They know what people are going to need, and another thing that folks aren't going to need, you know.
Yeah,
So it's cool. And then the Born and Raised Festival is pretty cool too, out in Oklahoma. I get to do that again this year. Matter of fact, last year I got credibility from my nieces and nephews. I was playing the Red River Theater with Jamie Lynn Wilson, and at the last minute, Treaty Oak joined us, and so I'm playing guitar on a couple guitar solos on their songs, and somebody videoed it, posted to Instagram, and my nieces and nephews were like, "You know Treaty Oak Revival, you know, you're legit." You know, I think is the word. You know, I was like, "Oh, that's cool as hell." You know, that my nieces and nephews are listening to that stuff. You know, but that gave me credibility in their eyes and seeing me on stage with them guys playing a little bit of guitar. You know, it was fantastic. That's a really killer festival as well. I'll be
yeah,
out there in September 13th, I believe.
yeah, that's a great lineup as well. I, I'm trying to think, is that the festival like Oklahoma? Like if you're from the Northeast, you're trying to go to Oklahoma, it's like it's kind of hard.
I've not been up to the Northeast yet. I'm playing in New York for the first time in September, but I've never been really north of Virginia, and I've never been to New York, you know, kind of in the Midwest. So I'm hoping this year I can find some quiet rooms to come up there and play in the Northeast because I've not been up there in the United States. I've not really done much touring on the West Coast. I've never played in California, Oregon, or Washington. I think Montana is about as far west and north as I've been. So
Yeah,
it's a big. United States is huge.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's funny. Like when the people they're from Texas, and they're always like, "Where's the best cheesesteak?" I'm like, man, like there's so much history here. I said, you realize these bricks are like the bricks that were laid down in the colonies. Like I said, they signed the Constitution across the street.
So
We'll get
there's extreme history up there.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
but the shallow American just wants to know where the best cheesecake is, right?
yeah. Or that. Where did Rocky run? What's the street Rocky ran down? It's yeah,
That's it.
it's funny. Like he ran up the art museum steps, and they put a statue there. And I used to work with a guy that when you drive by and you see the people taking selfies with it, and he'd be like, "Go in the building. There's priceless works of art in there." It's like yeah, maybe they will, maybe they won't. But it's just for some reason it just bothered him. But I kind of get like, yeah, when the guys come up, they're from Oklahoma and they're Texas. They want to eat cheesesteaks, and that's kind of like what Philly's known for. If you're not from around here, but yeah, the Northeast. I know New York has some cool rooms that I know a lot of people play. I've been trying to go up there to check them out because like it seems a lot of like bands have been skipping Philly. Like I've been having to like drive drive farther and farther to go see more of the Texas, Oklahoma, and Red Dirt guys. But It is
Yeah,
cool.
what a large genre that has become, huh?
Yeah,
If you look at like the old guys like Kale and Tom Skinner and all those guys that were kind of had that sound, and then the ragweed guys and McClure kind of made that sound their own and kind of rocked it up a little bit, and which it's just cool to see the whole evolution. I grew up out in Yukon, Oklahoma, so I've known those ragweed guys since we were in school. Me and Plato used to play bass in a couple metal bands that we played in back in the seventh and eighth grade. We would play in bunch of Iron Maiden, DRI, Slayer, stuff like that, which was really cool. But to see the term red dirt, like what it means now as opposed to what it meant, 30 years ago, with like a lot of people don't realize that how much it has evolved, and some may say devolved. I call it
yeah,
evolution, but some people don't like change, and so they're not going to be happy if somebody puts mustard instead of mayonnaise on their cheeseburger one day. You know what I mean? Because they're used to
yeah,
they're used to what they're used to. You know what I mean?
yeah. They,
And I've been out in Arizona since '07. I spent from the time I was born to 2007. I lived in Oklahoma. And I've been out here since '07, and Arizona's cool. Music scene in Arizona, in my opinion. I'll probably get some flack from this, but it's a cover band wasteland. I don't really play a lot out here because I could play 7 nights a week if I wanted to just play covers all night. But there's not a lot of venues out in Arizona for, in my opinion, for songwriters just to break people's hearts in quiet rooms. The
yeah,
ticketed things. Most of it's just set up in the corner, bring your PA, and hope for the best.
yeah. That's we get a lot of tribute bands. I guess you got a phone call. A lot of times it's the battery will die.
Oh, well, I plugged my battery in a little while ago, right? But I didn't know that it was going to interrupt me because a phone call came in.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think if I would
Uh,
have put it in airplane mode, I probably wouldn't be able to talk to you, right?
yeah, I don't know. Uh yeah, I should probably make like a list of things that could happen.
Yeah, I've never used the Riverside app. I've never on any of the other streaming apps. I've never had a phone call interrupt it. But no,
Uh,
man, I'm grateful to be on here today, and I really love that you are talking to people. I've watched a lot of your podcasts, watched a lot of your little blind reveals, your blind listening things, and it's cool to see somebody listen to something they've never heard before, and maybe even in a genre that they're not familiar with. You know what I mean? Uh,
yeah,
and it's cool also to do podcasts that are more of a conversation, because some of them that I do, they've got like 50 questions like ready. Now I know I have a long storied past that a lot of people want to pry into, and I'm like, well, listen to my albums if you want to really get deep into them, and nothing's off limits. And some people think that they don't want, they're afraid to ask me about the prison or the other life. Like, man, y'all can ask me anything you want, and it's also cool just to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Two people
yeah,
just talking about music.
yeah. And I'll watch other podcasts, and it's you know what I mean. Like I don't want to like people. They can find it somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
answering the same questions over and over again gets like tiring. I feel like so it's just like if it comes up, it comes up. But I liked it more like a conversation because you get to learn a lot, and it's cool how you know now we know who the first CD you got sent in,
Right.
and that's cool.
Yeah, some things, yeah, because nobody else knows that. John Forwright knows it. Now you guys know it,
Yeah,
right? Which is cool. The CD thing was really cool. Now I didn't break a lot of rules when I was locked up, but we had a rule. There was a rule that you can only have 20 CDs, and I told the administration I'm not going to break any other rules, but I'm going to have more than 20 CDs because I'm a music addict. So I would pay my buddies 2 or 3 soups a week to keep 50 CDs over at their house. And like, so I'm literally hiding CDs like they're drugs in other people's houses. Cause when they come to your house, if they search it and you got more than 20 CDs, you don't get to pick which 20 you keep. They just start taking stuff until you get down to 20, and they give you a ticket. So, while other guys may have been hiding spice and whatever other drug of the week was there, I'm hiding CDs at other people's houses. And
that's your con.
we had these cheap little Sony CD players that, man, that I would go through just packs and packs of batteries on the things and power supplies and CD motors because you're listening to stuff. And then I think my last 2.5 years there, they gave us all tablets and you could download music on the tablet for at a ridiculous rate. It was like $3 a song.
Uh,
Like somebody in that world, I had music on there whenever I went in that people were downloading and buying for $3 a song that I personally have never seen a red cent for it, right? So I can only imagine all the people that are downloading. You know, the popular theme was clearly hip hop music and metal, and like I wonder if those people are getting paid. I don't know. It's a weird deal. I actually tried to figure that out when I got out. Like, who's making this money? You know, because they made a lot of money off of phone calls and
yeah,
commissary, and like, and now they're letting people download and buy other people's songs on these tablets, and you can't take the tablet with you when you go home, and they make it like a complete pain in the ass to give you the songs you've purchased. And it's I won't even get started about that racket, but the tablets were great because I had an intranet, a closed loop thing of all the songs I could possibly think of downloading, rather than going through the process of trying to find an approved vendor to send a CD in. And like, it was a big deal just to get a CD in the mail, you know. They didn't just
yeah,
send it to you. They had to search it and go down to property, make sure that it was on the list or was on not on the blacklist, and it was a hell of a deal. So those first few CDs that I had sent in there were still very important to me, and they're still somewhere. I didn't bring any CDs home with me because I wanted to leave all that, and I had amassed several hundred CDs, while I was in there.
so they had a blacklist of what you couldn't listen
Oh
to.
yeah, yes, yeah. There was like you're not gonna get the dirty version of Tupac's greatest hits in there, you know.
Uh,
You're not gonna some of it. You're probably not gonna get a Wheeler Walker Jr. album in there. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, you know. So there was a little bit of low key censorship when it came to that, which is crazy because you got people in there that are doing the rest of their life in there, and you can tell them, oh, we think this is too violent or controversial for you to listen to. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It was a very strange dynamic, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's especially because First Amendment protects you from the government from restricting.
well, I think when you're locked up, there's not
Yeah,
too many rights that you can do anything about, you know, because you're in a closed place where even if you sent a letter out or called somebody and said X, Y, or Z is going on, like it's all going to be hushed. There's a lot of window dressing in the Arizona state prisons. There's a lot of programming, but it it sounds cool in theory, but the people that are teaching it, they don't care. So in my opinion, there's not a lot of comprehensive programming that breeds positive change. I would argue that the music program that I was a part of in there, I taught over 500 guys how to play some type of instrument and write songs and things. And those guys all stayed out of trouble when they were in that program because they knew that if they got in trouble, well, they couldn't come pick up a guitar when it was their rec time and go sit out next to the basketball field and write songs all day or have access to the band room. But they let us have concerts out on the prison yard once a month, drag a PA out there, old electric Alesis Nitro Mesh drum kit. And like we had a death metal band, we had rock and roll bands, country bands, Spanish bands. I learned Spanish when I was locked up, and so I used to sing in the Spanish church band, and I used to play guitar for the Spanish prison band that was there in that kind of a Spanish style, which is a little bit different. The chord voicings and the shapes are all a little bit different, but it follows like one strict format. And like if you dive into those corridos and the traditional Spanish stuff, if you got a good singer, that singer will lead you. You don't even have to have the song in front of you. You don't have to ever hear it because these singers lead you. You know, they're just playing on 1 4 5, and you can hear which ones it's going to, and all those traditional things. But it was cool that they did. I'm grateful they let us to play music out on the yard, and I watched it change people from the inside out, man, including myself. You know, I played before I went to prison, but I know guys in that program that have gotten out that are still doing fantastic because they're still playing music. They have a creative outlet and they finally found the voice they were looking for their entire life, you know.
yeah.
So
That's great to hear that you know that music can help people from man, that's a pretty. It's not a place you want to be, but it's great to find an escape, and then to have something, a skill set that takes you out of there, because it's very easy to get caught up in the system.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like it's so many little things that can jam you up. It's unbelievable of what they put good people. You know, it's amazing of just how it's almost abuse. It's like you become a paycheck, or you just. I've seen so many people just get jammed up when they're like, "Oh, you have a weapon in your house." Well, I bow hunt. It's I bow hunt. Nope,
Look,
you're going back.
there there are a lot of people in prison that are completely innocent. I promise you that. There's a lot
Yeah,
of people that a lot of people that have just been in 2 or 3 times and they got charged with something they didn't do, and then they leave them in county jail for a year. And county jail out here is a tragedy in Maricopa County. And they break you. You're sitting in that county jail for a year. You're probably going to sign a plea if it means you can get to a prison yard where you can actually live a little bit, rather than the county jail model. So, I mean, our correctional system is broken, and there's a lot of guys in there are innocent. There's a lot of guys in there that have that victim mentality. They're like, well, oh, Johnny narked on me. He snitched on me. That's why I'm here. I'm like, no, man, we have to take accountability of our own mistakes in our life. We have to address those, and we have to own them 100%. If we can't do that, that's a first step in growing at anything, whether you've been a criminal your whole life or what it is. We have to admit our own mistakes, and we have to own those and quit blaming all of our failures on other people. And I think when I saw guys finally get that, I saw them start growing. But until they got that, it doesn't matter until people can kind of admit that, all right, this was me all along. Look in the mirror type thing. It was crazy to see it on the grand scale though, because you got to imagine, living in a room with 70 other guys in a dorm. So there's no cells in the latter part of my sentence. You're dealing with 60 or 70 personalities every single day, sharing 3 sinks, 3 showers, 2 urinals, and 2 toilets with 70 guys. You get to see a lot. And as a songwriter, always trying to absorb that stuff. I have notebooks full of stuff that I would just observe, and a lot of songs have come from that. So not every song I write is about things that have happened to me. A lot of it is about things that I've observed. Whether that's at McDonald's this morning getting a biscuit, or doing all that time in prison. The songs are out there, the stories are out there. You just have to open your eye up and kind of capture it. In my opinion.
yeah. Go out and find them.
Yeah, they're there. Just open your eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Music's everywhere, and I always love like I can't remember what band, but they wrote a riff based off of their windshield wipers. Like,
Hell yeah.
they just when you really, it's kind of like man, I can't remember his name. It is a comedian, Mitch Hedberg. Like when you overthink and think of stuff, it's just there's so much simple, complex stuff out there, and I love when just hearing how people find sounds, and like especially in like the studio, or you hear like the shaker burg, so they use the sweet and low packet, and it's you don't need big fancy. I mean, granted, as guitar players, we tell ourselves we need that extra
Right.
guitar, but you could probably survive with two of them, but you know what I
For
mean. And
sure.
yeah, and they don't have to be $5,000 zebra exotic wood. The
No.
bare bone. I always tell people, because a lot of people, their stuff's never good enough for like them, and I'm
Mhm.
just like, man, the talent will shine through. Like I really believe that, because like when you listen to like Metallica's first album, the vocals, that's
Right.
he had laryngitis.
Right.
They're
Right.
not good, but they're
Right.
fantastic songs.
Right.
And you go see them live, and they will blow you out of the water. But could you imagine if he was like, "Oh, my voice wasn't good enough for this album," and if they just hoarded gold,
Right.
there's
Well, I think a lot of things. Even studio. I have been around folks that will go into the studio and man, they pick apart every single thing and they want it perfect, and there is beauty in the imperfection of making an album, in my opinion. You know, it, it's insane, talking about a Metallica. Can you imagine if Metallica said, you know what, we're going to wait a little bit, we're going to polish this thing up really nice? It would have never have hit as hard. Now, clearly, that was just a part of their natural progression because, you look like, shortly thereafter when, Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em All, and then they come out with, in my opinion, my favorite Metallica album is Master of Puppets, followed a close second behind would be the Injustice for All album, to where like everything finally for the first time clicked in the studio, guitar tones, everything just came together. And like I get goosebumps right now just talking about those old albums because when I hear those old albums, it takes me back to the room I was in when I heard it and I can smell things. Smell is weird. I pick up acoustic guitars and I always smell the inside of them, or I smell skateboards because it takes me back to the skater days. And there's some odors that like just recall things in your memory, just like listening to those old imperfect albums, like in anybody's genre. I mean, listen to Springsteen's Nebraska album, and talk about, oh, okay, we're going to polish this thing up. Good songs will stand the test of the time, no matter what genre they're in. Period. I still listen to a bunch of Tupac because that's back when hip hop was still storytelling, and I love storytellers, and it doesn't matter if they're doing it at 300 beats a minute to a death metal guitar, or if they're doing it to a hip hop beat in the background, or just some sad son of a bitch with an acoustic guitar. I like stories framed with music, and
Yeah.
it's so cool that we can go back to those old albums and just feel things over and over, the imperfect albums.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Yeah, it's a really, like, like senior week. I can remember, like Deftones White Pony, and I put that on. I think of like being at the beach, and with a lot of my friends that were there. They're no longer here, so it's music is very cool of how it can connect memories of some things, and maybe you've heard the song 100 times, and the 101 time you'll remember something that you haven't remembered in forever. It's just weird how like sometimes it's just the way how, at least with how I'm wired, is every once in a while a song can like bring you back and you'd be like, oh my god, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
And
they do. You've got to listen to that Stephen Wilson Jr. song called "I'm a Song."
yeah,
It's basically it's summarizing our entire conversation about songs bringing you back to places. So listen to that song this evening when we get off of here. It'll encapsulate the entire thought process that we're exploring right now with where just a verse of a song can take you as far as emotionally or back in time, and to those nostalgic moments where that song may or may not have been played in the background. You know.
yeah,
I think that's why music's so powerful because it takes us places we don't have to ask it to. We don't have to pry for it. We don't have to look to it. It's just like this magical moment that occurs, that you can't force, and it only really occurs with songs that have touched us, And if you're listening to music honestly, I think you have no heart if no music has ever touched you. You haven't listened to any music, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I'm not even speaking on genres, just music in general. I mean, there are still classical pieces that bring a tear to my eye when I listen to them that have no words, just because there's so much emotion in them that bring me back to a different place. I only have three guitar lessons in my life. Two of them were nylon string classical lessons, and another one was by a guy named Brian Ballou out in Oklahoma City that was a shredder. And I have three in my life, and I said I'm just going to sit in my room and figure out how to play this stuff. And I tell like the younger generation will never know the struggle of rewrapping a tape or getting a piece of Scotch tape to your on your tape player, your cassette, and putting that thing back together, or putting a piece of toilet paper in the top of it so you could record something over the top of it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I used to just sit back in my bedroom and rewind Slayer, Obituary, and Cannibal Corpse songs and Testament, and just figure it out note by note. Couldn't tell you what I was playing, but I could still play some of it to this day. You know what I mean? As far as
yeah,
theory wise, I couldn't tell you what I was doing, but now I know what I was doing. But before when I learned it, I had no clue.
yeah.
It was
That's
just
like
it was just
the first lesson I had. The guy gave me my money back. He said you'll
You're
never
not
learn
gonna
how to
make it,
play.
man. Oh
I'm like,
wow.
I'm a kid. You know, this is my dream. You're
Oh
not
wow.
even taking my
He
money's
shut
not
you
even put
down.
here. Yeah, and I didn't touch a guitar for a while, and yeah, it just had this neighbor. He would go on the nod and leave his alarm clock on. Beep, 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 beep. So I would put my guitar amp on the floor and just rub batteries on it. And I remember one day, man, he opened up his apartment door, came running upstairs, and I was like, "All right, finally, we're gonna play." And I opened up the door, and he's like, "You want to learn how to play that thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude, please." And he ended up being a really cool guy, and he showed me drop D,
Okay.
and I was playing music within 3 minutes, and
Right.
he was actually really good. And I mean, it broke my heart when I said, "Man, you're really good. What kind of guitar do you have?" He goes, I don't have it. Pawned it." He goes, if I need the practice, I go to the music store and play."
Oh, that's
And
great.
I'm like, man, but yeah, and I don't ever really remember seeing him again. But
That's
yeah, man,
crazy. Hey, he
yeah,
was there at the right time in your life, you know?
yeah, drop D. He
I've lost so many guitars at the pawn shop over my entire life. It's been a long time since I have. Oh man, I think the one I lost that hurt me the most was it was like a 94 Jackson USA custom Ghost Flame V. It was like a
oh,
$3,500 guitar. I think I
I was
pawned
gonna,
it for $400 to go buy a bunch of pills or something, and
oh
kept going back to try to get it and making excuses. And they gave me all the leniency they should. This was, way back in the day. This is in the mid '90s, but I'll never forget that specific guitar that I pawned for thousands less. And plus, it was just a great guitar. Of course, I've
yeah,
lost lots of things. I could write a whole song about all the stuff that I've pawned. I would probably need to write a whole damn album. I have my Percocets and pawn shops. It talks a little bit about what I pawned, but I could write a whole damn pawn shop album. I believe it. You know what I
they well,
mean?
at least now that they're in their forever homes.
Well, yeah, they are. They're some of them are still hanging on the wall, but I still frequent pawn shops as a shopper these days.
Yeah,
Haven't had to pawn anything in a while because hell, I never needed to pawn anything because I needed to pay my bills. I needed to pawn things to get high. Bills came secondary. You know what I mean? But pawn shops got good deals sometimes. You just walk in there like, wow, this is really cool, and you can negotiate with them pretty well too. Well, if you
yeah,
want $100, I give you $50, and no, you ain't got 30 in it because I've pawned about 100 of these things in my life. I know what you gave me. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and they can't fool you.
Yeah, I wanted to find a pawn shop in Mesa or someplace. I wanted to like record a music video at a time for Percocets and pawn shops. And I walked into three of them, and they were like, no, they were all upset about it. I wrote the song that's gonna be in my new album called Diamond. It's about a stripper out in Oklahoma, and I am gonna make a live performance video in a strip joint somewhere. And hopefully, it's the Red Dog on 10th Street in Oklahoma City. That's kind of where the inspiration for the song came out. And I don't need there to be women in there. I just want like the whole vibe
The
of
ambience.
yeah, the ambience of just setting up with two or three cameras and a couple microphones and just doing a live version of a song about a stripper in the building that it was written about.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. And I would say that's a song I'm excited about recording just because I was fighting another song I was writing. I said, you know what? My wife's fake stripper name is Diamond, and all women have a fake stripper name. So it's like, I'm gonna write a song about a stripper. So like I knocked that song out over several weeks, and I didn't know how I was gonna finish it. And I was asking people at shows. I was playing half of it and saying, "How does this song end?" And people gave me all their input, and I must have written five endings to that song. I finally settled on one about a month ago. So uh, looking forward to recording that one. It's a little bit more upbeat. I don't know if I'd call it hopeful, but
That'd be interesting to hear.
yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm looking forward. I got some guys. You know who Jesse Aycock is?
Jesse Acock.
Guitar player, played for the Hard Working Americans.
No,
Okay, these are Tulsa cats. He's playing guitar on this album, and I've never met him. I'm very familiar with his body of work, and again, it's cool to walk into and make music with folks you've never met before. And Fulbright's going to play on the album as well.
nice.
So looking and Patty Ryan on drums and Weinheimer on bass. So I think we got a 5 day schedule, September 15th, and I like to make my albums in 5 days. I like to walk away on day number five, and all that's left is mixing. You know.
Nice. That's 5 days and done.
5 days
So,
and done. That's how my last one. My Pound of Rust album was made in 4 days, four
wow.
maybe 7 hour tracking days. My last album, Sergeant of Sorrow, made at the same studio with the same players. We got 5 days on that one, and then we have 4 days of tracking, and then one day of just kind of some cleanup work scheduled for this one. But yeah, because I don't ever multi-track myself. I don't everybody has a different way they make albums. Again, I said that at the onset, I sat on a bar stool with whatever mics the engineer wants to use, and I play these songs, and play them and sing them at the same time. I don't want to record all the music and then come back and just do the vocals. I like singing and playing at the same time. That's what I sound like live, so why shouldn't that be how I sound on an album? That's the way I feel about it, anyways.
Yeah, it definitely a more connective and more feel.
Yeah, I like the vibe. You got to have the vibe. I'll
Yeah.
even ask, hey, can you turn the lights down a little bit for this song? But hey, those last two albums I made, I'm very proud of those, and I love working with Dylan Aldridge is the engineer out at Skinny Elephant in Tennessee, and Nielsen Hubbard, man, he's just a great mind when it comes to propping up songs and not losing sight of like the nucleus of the song, but that still remains intact, and everything else plays a supportive role, and I love that about people that I find that can present songs. And I always say, people's like, why don't you just produce your own album? I was like, well, I value other people's opinions, and I think it's important also to get outside perspective from people maybe that you admire in the industry, and get their opinions on things. And you may not like their opinion, but I think it's great to get opinions whenever making an album. Just people, I see things, or sometimes people can see things in me, and I can see things in other folks that they can't see in themselves, and then I can't see in myself, because we're kind of limited to our own perspective, and the musical perspective is so broad that it's so great to explore that through other people's thought process.
Yeah, and people listen to music very differently too, which I find that topic fascinating because a lot of
I'm a
people,
repeat listener. When I find a song I like, I listen to it 100 times before I ever listen to another song.
okay,
Yeah,
I've done that with some
yeah.
songs.
People binge watch Netflix. I binge listen to stuff all the time. I think in 2022, I know 23. My binge listen was Evan Bartles.
I know that name. Yeah,
He had his our vinyl session was like all those songs were my top four streamed when you get a little Spotify rap thing at the year, because I listened to those songs a ton. Last year, my most listened to song was uh oh god, what's the title? It's escaped me. A Pony Bradshaw song. Um well, now the it's escaping me the name of it. It's on the Calico Jim album. Anyways, it was another binge listen that I still listen to this day.
yeah. Mine mine ever since from doing it has been Austin Mead Cave In. I just
Okay.
I don't know why. I just love the song.
It's okay. That's the beauty about music. Like, it doesn't have to make sense. It's a feeling.
Yeah,
It's a vibe. Put your AirPods in, or however you listen to music, and you get down. And there are other people that, I'm hanging on every word when I'm listening to music. There are other people that consume music, listen to it a little bit differently. It's background. They could listen to it 200 times, and they probably couldn't tell you a single word in it, because it's not about the word for them. It's about the feel. And that's like the beauty of that broad spectrum of music, and how people consume it and how they digest it. It's an amazing phenomenon. It really is, to look how wide that really goes.
yeah. And when you do go to a concert and the song is super sad, but the music's really good.
Hmm.
Like Cody Jinks was telling me about his song David, and I got to see that twice this weekend. Of half the people are crying and half the people are dancing to the music with smiles on their face. And I was like, yeah, just may not realize that it's got that cool beat, cool rhythm feel, and yeah, like because I've been trying to be like the lyric guy. You know, they were trying to really listen to it first, but man, like I the music. I guess it's the musician in me. I always gravitate towards the guitar, and then the drums, and then the bass, and then the lyrics come. Unless it's like your stuff is very easy to get the lyrics first because there's not there's not a lot for me to be distracted from. I'm like, oh
Right.
man, listen to that guitar tone.
Right.
But of course I love the riffs. But yeah, I'm trying
Hey, and
because
hey, the stuff I listen to, like if people are they're dumbfounded when I tell them that all I used to listen to was death metal, and now like, what do you listen to? And I'll like send some of my metal friends the stuff I'm listening to, like, what happened to you? And then they'll listen to my stuff. They're like, what happened to you? Like, this is what I like to listen to. You saw my playlist. It ain't nothing but sad songs in it, man. There's hardly any instrumentation. I really like listening to people's live albums too. There's just another experience you get seeing somebody live that I think most studios are trying to capture that feeling, of a live concert. But there's just power in live music. I love listening to just live recorded stuff with a couple mistakes here and there, rather than
yeah,
listening to some super produced album that's full of auto tune and everything else. I'd rather hear a guy be a little bit flat here, a little bit sharp there. That way I know it's real. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
not a
oh
it's
yeah,
not a microwave TV dinner. Mama made this thing, and she may have put too much salt in it. And it's okay. There may not be enough in it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
that's the way I like it, anyways. So, of
yeah, dude, definitely. And a lot of times the live song is different than the album.
course,
And sometimes in a good way, sometimes not so good. But I love when like you can see the guys look at each other and they'll go a couple extra bars jamming,
yeah.
and
That's the
it's
beauty
it
of it. Only
yeah,
musicians understand that language. Like, some people look at that and they're like, I can't believe you guys can just on a whim like make this song longer or shorter. Like, we speak the language, we can do it with just a nod. People they've never played an instrument, they're it's magic to them. They went to a magic show in their mind,
yeah,
and sometimes those moments are never recreated, and that's why those live performances are even if it's recorded live, like there's just something about air moving across speakers and a crowd of other people, and there's all this energy, whether that's sad energy or happy energy. It's still energy that's come from stuff vibrating and rattling plastic and steel apart. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's such a beautiful world we live in if we just open our eyes and look at it, right?
yeah. That's 100%. That's true. And yeah, like that's the one thing I did love, like seeing the heavier music. It's like the bass drum, like it'll change your heart rhythm just getting hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just always love that. It's just like in your face, just bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, it's crazy. I told you earlier, I was at it was Slayer, Testament, and Pantera on one bill in Oklahoma at the state fairgrounds, and I was all hopped up on all kinds of stuff I won't even talk about. But that's back in the days where they still let you stage dive, right? There was no big deal. I got up there, first couple times it was great. But the third time, these people just moved out of my way and I landed right on my shoulder. So it gets worse, and I landed on my shoulder and I broke my collarbone. At the same time I landed, my keys fell out of my pocket and someone kicked him and they went shooting across the floor. I'm in the middle of a mosh pit, mind you. So I'm insane. I'm just running around there throwing elbows and stuff. And maybe 20 minutes later, two or three songs later, I just happen to look down because somebody runs into me and my keys come flying across the floor. And I just step on them on accident, pick them back up and put them in my pocket. Drove home that night and went to the hospital the next morning. Had a fractured collarbone. Those are the memories that music and bass drums give us.
Yeah,
They're so powerful that you don't even feel anything.
yeah. That's funny.
Insanity. Yeah, it's out of control, but
Yeah. I can just in my head see you chasing your keys.
I wasn't chasing. They just kind of shot. I watched them leave me, and they came back to me as fast as they left me, and then I accidentally stepped on them. In the
That's
middle of
wild.
a mosh. And mosh pits are different these days. people are like throwing punches and kicking. You do that,
Yeah.
back in 1995, and you're going to get your ass whooped. As simple as
Yeah.
that. Moshing
Uh,
was hardcore back then, but these days it's a little bit different. I mean, there's people swinging, throwing kicks and full blown punches and elbows, and they're aiming for the face. Back then, we were just getting aggressive out, ramming the shit out of each other.
yeah.
So
Definitely a
they're
huge difference.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
50 years old and have 8 grandkids, and I will not be getting any mosh pits anytime soon. Yeah,
Yeah.
what a man.
Yeah, me either. I got close to one. I was like, what's that wind? And I looked back and there was a circle pit and I was like the wall. I was like, I am out of here. Hell
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's certainly the young man's game.
Yeah.
Hell, I got so many. I've been so hard on my damn body. If I got in one, I'd break something at this point. I feel like
Yeah.
too many skateboard wrecks or dirt bike wrecks or hell, I don't know what it was. Lots of wrecks, car wrecks, all of it. Just
Yeah.
wrecks, right? Hey, there's my next song talking about all the wrecks I've been in, right?
Yeah. Right. That's funny. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about? I know we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I didn't even pay attention to time. No, man, I'm just grateful to be on here. Thanks for having me on here. Thanks for listening to my song last year, and hopefully you listen to the new album. It'll be out early next year. I'll probably start releasing a couple singles in January, February, and then right before I head back over to Europe again. And keep doing your thing, man. And Talbot's cool. I've been dealing with him when I did the Texas to Tennessee podcast, and it's always great to get on and just have a conversation. Like we just
Yeah.
met in a bar room, and we're like, "Hey, man, my name's Jeremy. What's your name?" "Well, my name's XYZ," and we just start talking about about life. So I'm grateful for it, and this is where's this streaming at right now? TikTok and YouTube,
Y-
or
yeah. TikTok, Twitch, YouTube.
yeah, TikTokers. If you're out there, I'm at I don't I just changed my name to JD Graham. I was Sergeant of Sorrow on TikTok, so I'm under JD Graham now, and my website is thejDgraham.com. And Instagram is JD Graham OK. And I hope to see you guys at a show somewhere. And maybe I mean, if I don't see you before then, I'll see you in Mile Zero in January
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, man. And I look forward to seeing some of your backing track jams.
I'll have to do some.
Yeah, I've got
But
some
yeah.
on my. I've been doing them on my. I've been home for like 2 months, taking a break off the highway. I've been at home shredding over backing tracks. Haven't recorded anything, but oh, it's been so fun. I'm playing
Yeah.
through this old. It's a '59 panoramic. It looks like um, an old magnetone. This thing is from. Let me show you a picture of it. 1959. If I figure out how to turn this camera around, maybe I can't. Well, you see that thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a 1959. It was just stuck in a guy's closet, made
Wow.
by Magnetone back in the day. I've got that,
I'll
and then I just traded a guitar through for one of them little head rush cores. I was never going to play this guitar. This guy's like, "I got this head rush core thing." I was like, "I'll trade it and try it out." Thing's actually got some pretty cool stuff on it.
Yeah. I Headrush makes some nice stuff. I use some of their speakers and whatnot.
Oh, cool. But no, thanks for having me on, man. And if you ever need anything, you guys know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah. Thank, Thanks for coming on, man. I
Of
appreciate you
course.
taking the time.
Yep.
So, all right, man.
Cool. Well, we'll see you next time. We'll see you out there in the world or in the virtual world we live in, one or the other, right?
Yep. I'll be seeing you.
All right. Later, man.